sometimes sharing that you're a beginner is a good thing. I showed up every single day since filming this. I wish I could go back and speak to this version of myself. It was not the end of the drama. That was one of my most viral TikToks of all time. I feel like I'm gonna cry right now just reflecting on it. What do you think the version of you a year from today would say to you? Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Haley Hoffman Smith, and I'm the friend that helps you bring your pipe dreams to life through manifestation and motivation. And today's video is going to be really special because I have been on YouTube officially for 1 year. Woohoo! I wanted to reflect upon my first episode or vlog ever that I posted since it was a year ago, because first of all, I've grown so much as a vlogger and as a content creator. But second of all, I really think this could be a cool lesson in faith and in trusting the process, because if you're unfamiliar, my first episode, which I'm going to live react to, documented, it was really interesting, like timing wise how this worked out, like what a saucy, juicy first episode. When the TikTok ban was about to happen, and I was also about to hit 100,000 followers on TikTok, which is a goal that I've been working towards forever and ever. I finally am like about to hit it. And then at the same time, national headlines are all talking about this incoming TikTok ban, which was really, really hard at the time, just because I'd worked so hard for everything that I'd had on TikTok. All of my TikTok growth, all of my content that I created, I remember like desperately trying to just save all the videos because like at least I could use them for something else, like on Pinterest, on Instagram, and it just being a very trying time, feeling like, wow, everything that I've worked for is about to be taken from me and there's nothing that I can do. This is totally outside of my control. And that's really what jump-started the whole concept of spiritual vlogs, which is what I now do, where I choose a spiritual message to apply to my life throughout that week. And sometimes things happen in alignment with the spiritual message, sometimes they don't, but it's just a good consideration to discuss and get to talk about. But I thought it'd be fun to settle in, reflect on the year that's happened since, especially because everything obviously turned out okay. I got a pumpkin spice latte, my very favorite, and today is the first day of fall, September 21st, and this video came out on September 23rd, 2020, so we were right there around the 1 year point. And it'd just be fun to react because I was just not the YouTuber that I am today. I'm still, I don't know, I'm still learning. Maybe I'll react to this video in a year. Okay, so let's get this started. I'm just gonna watch on my laptop. My very first YouTube video, the threat of the ban is getting to me right now. Okay, honestly, just from the start, it's so funny because I didn't know that a vlog could flip up, like a vlogging camera could flip up and then it would focus on your face. So when it's super blurry, like literally from the get-go, the first 1 second, the preview of the video, it's because I would set up the camera, I'd sit in front of it and just like hope for the best. And I remember being like, man, that's not really clear or focused. That's okay, I'll just keep going. I'm writing down my goals. TikTok is obviously a really big part of that. Filming, woo! Since you know that I believe in science, I wanted to share. They were telling me. It's just frustrating. This is like probably the most emotional anyone has ever gotten about. I'm really crying. Spunky reality show music. My status on TikTok right now, I have 92.7 thousand followers. Yeah. Okay, brief moment just to like reflect on growth. So 92.7 a year ago. As of right now, I'm up in the 330,000 range, which is crazy and nothing I could have ever imagined, because I remember thinking 100K was like the end all be all. Just a year could make so much of a difference, like over tripled that. That's incredible.
It's going to be out of business in the United States.
Oh my gosh.
How does this even happen?
I know that there's still going to be so many opportunities to, I guess, just like share life and share inspirational messages with you guys, which is why I'm so excited about this.
I just remember immediately like watching back that footage, because I would refresh the news like anytime there was a new article, and I learned very quickly that news cycles sensationalize things. Everybody's reporting on it at the same time and everybody's trying to get a different take, so there was always new information coming out and it was always very scary, daunting headlines, and everybody was talking about it and it was so unexpected. So just watching that back, I'm like, whew, Oh, here's Brooke telling me the autofocus isn't great and to tap the screen on my face. How do you get the camera to focus?
An example of how little I know what I'm doing. I'm like, Brooke, help me. How do I even like attach the screen? Okay.
I'll say Brooke Mitchell helped me so much with getting started on YouTube. She is such an angel. I was like, what camera do I get? Like every camera I've ever gotten, she recommended, and she's the sweetest. So big shout out to Brooke. Thanks, girl. I would not be here without you. Comment below, do I look like the same human? I feel like I look so different. Like, yeah, my hair is lighter. My hair is all natural now, but even energetically, it all feels so different than me today. Like I look at this, I look at me here, I can't believe that was only a year ago. It looks like I'm looking at a version of myself from like 4 or 5 years ago. That's insane. And I think also my confidence on camera, like maybe it's because I didn't know what I was doing, but I feel very unsure of myself. Whereas now I feel like when I'm speaking on camera, the confidence just comes. And a lot of that's practice. You know, a lot of people ask me how I'm so confident on camera. Well, look, I went through a lot of phases of feeling very like, you can see it in my body language, but little by little, I just learned over time, like emotion and energy always depicts better on camera if you're a little bit more like emotive when you're actually on camera. So being authentic for one, but then upping the dosage, like caffeinating while you're on camera so you have a lot of extra energy.
I know that I'm like a little bit of a worry, but the
That's
threat
so true.
of the band
Same.
is
Still to this day.
It's not my intention to put out perfect content. It's my intention to be real with you and share what a week in my life is like.
Along those lines too, like I think it's really important to understand that even though I'm looking back on this now and like parts of it are a little, I mean, it's not that bad, but a little bit cringeworthy just because I was such a beginner. I really like that I had the moxie to be like, I'm gonna show what being a beginner looks like. Like I'm okay showing up and having poorly framed, like what is going on? There's a lot of clutter going on in the background of this frame. Like Haley Hoffman Smith, I'm probably gonna look back on this clip and be like, why was this blanket draped so mishappily? Like I see so many people have way better frames, but I was okay with showing that I was a beginner, and people like that, you know, because my intention too is not to put myself on some pedestal where my life seems so perfect. Like I want to be relatable. I want to inspire and energize something within every single viewer, within you. And I can't do that if I'm like, ooh, I have to be really polished and perfect first. Sometimes sharing that you're a beginner is a good thing.
I know this is gonna be an exciting start, regardless of what happens with TikTok.
I did not mean that.
So
Just kidding.
I think I'm just going to get a little bit of work done, maybe order my...
Remembering this and like looking in the background at the darkness, it literally looks like a crazy person holed up, refreshing the news, like can't even be bothered to turn the light on.
What she's up to, because...
I remember I was surprising Rachel. She didn't know I was calling with the camera.
Hi! ByteDance is the parent company to TikTok, and so they rejected Microsoft's bid. Oracle could be like a cloud-based provider, so maybe...
Rach is still so emotive. I also, as I'm listening back to myself talking about ByteDance could be a cloud-based provider, like I don't know what the heck that means. And she's like, Like I don't know if she knew what that meant either, but she's so supportive. I love her. I was getting a lot done over that one night and that one spot on my desk. TikTok live, FaceTiming Rachel, refreshing everything. And this is crazy. I'm so glad we have a screenshot of my Instagram. This is really wild because as of the time that I'm filming this, I am very close to actually hitting 100K on Instagram, which is wild. And so looking back, 29K, I have chills. That was also my past unit number. My past apartment was 29K, and here we are looking at this. You know, a lot of these things, like with growth, from the outside, it can just really seem like a vanity metric, and it's really important to me to stress that. To me, it's not about that. It's not like, oh, I hit this threshold and therefore I'm successful now or whatever. Like I really know that those are souls that follow me, and that means everything to me. But at the same time, like being a businesswoman, like having a management team, having big career goals that are dependent upon audience size, and knowing I'm showing up every single day creating content in order to grow my exposure and grow my audience, at times it can feel really stuck and stagnant. And I've had a lot of like stagnant phases over this past year that I remember clear as day. Like times that I just was completely stuck on TikTok, completely stuck on Instagram with my growth, and it can feel so frustrating at the time. So to be able to look back, realize, oh my gosh, but a year ago, this is where you were. So imagine where you could be a year from now. Like that growth can be exponential. But guys, the thing is, like I showed up every single day since filming this. I was so committed, and that's really what it takes, just like believing in yourself so much.
And I got a text from my friend Ankita, and it says about the Oracle.
That's also really funny because that was back when Ankita and I had just become friends, and we weren't well, we were like immediately close, immediately best friends, but now she's like my other half. So it's so funny. My friend's on Kita. Like, oh, just a friend.
Oracle wins the bidding for TikTok in the US.
Amazing
moments. I've already used my handy dandy gratitude and goals journal to write down 3 things that
I'm the same. I still do it every day. New notebook though.
I'm also going to watch today this Jim Carrey commencement speech because
hold on, brief ad now that I'm a monetized baby.
Say more than thank you with Mercy European chocolates.
For all of my excitement last night, I'm definitely heading into this week feeling a bit
It's so interesting to hear back like all the little details of the drama that was unfolding. Like I completely forgot about like how Larry Ellison had that with Trump. Like there's so many moving parts and components and question marks and ambiguity around this specific situation, which is why it was such a good lesson in faith.
This week I'm also about to start sending out brand partnership, media kits, etc. to expand outside of my business, and like TikTok is obviously a really big part of that.
It's also crazy to hear that back too, like back when brand deals were completely up to me, because now that I have a manager, I signed with them in November, December time, they handle all of that. And I don't think I ever could have imagined having that as a huge career bonus back then. So it's just, I mean, I was hustling. This is so cool. I wish I could go back and speak to this version of myself, like looking at her and just knowing how much stress she was under and how much uncertainty she had about the future and a lack of confidence. Like, do you ever wish you could just reach back through time and hug your younger self and say something? I'd be like, girl, it's gonna be so good. And then that makes me wonder about my future self, and if my future self is gonna watch this video back, whoa, a little wormhole through time, and be saying the same things to me, like knowing the things that I'm worried about currently, the things that feel uncertain and ambiguous to me right now, and wish that she could give me a hug. I wonder what she would say to me. It's also cool because I recently did like a little back to school sale for the Purpose Pilot, even though like I'm always outgrowing my content because I'm evolving to like new levels of the content, which is really good, but obviously my old content's good too. And so it's just so funny that I was able to just be like, oh, here's like a little 50% off sale, like a back to school sale. And it was actually really good. I had like 50 new registrants. So these things are still like applicable.
I just saw this headline from CNBC.
The difference.
That says, it's done. Kramer says Trump administration will.
I'm like excited, even though I know how the story ends. The worst part about this is like, I know how excited I was then. I felt the rush of excitement now, like seeing that headline brought back a major memory, but I know that it was not the end of the drama, and there's like a huge bombshell to come. So watching it back, it's like in a horror movie when you're like, don't go up the stairs.
I just have my phone here with my ring light.
That's so funny looking back, seeing that outfit, because that was one of my most viral TikToks of all time. It was about how to ask the universe for a sign, and I came up with that out of nowhere, and that's like really guided a lot of my content since then. And I wonder if I like kind of have chills looking back at this, because I'm setting up the frame. I'm like filming before I film, and I have no idea I'm about to film a video that's going to have like my most views to date ever, which was like 2 million views, which would drive me to 100K.
I have seen this thing that said, if it's out of your hands, it should be out of your mind too.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm creating this situation with my subconscious. I know that's wild to think about, like having that much impact, but if I had just let it go throughout this week and I wasn't so obsessed with this, like, isn't it supposed to be easier?
I actually like looking back on this too and seeing, like actually visually seeing the turmoil that I was going through and remembering it as I'm watching it, but then knowing how it all turned out, I just got like a wave of chills, because yeah, like what if that week I had just been focused on the things I could control? Like what if I had just been focused on filming, because I was clearly in the flow. I made that video that went super viral. Things work out, they just do. And I remember my friend Carly kept telling me like, I'm not gonna worry about it. Like it's completely out of our control, so might as well just like focus on what we can control. And I found that to be so hard to do. But damn, like this is a whole saga of me like stressing, and ultimately for nothing.
I was biking back from Chelsea, and my bike, I was having a really hard time riding.
Oh my gosh, I remember this.
Got enough speed. And I finally realized that the back tire was flat, which prompted this whole consideration, and I actually made a TikTok about it. If something is like a miss, it doesn't matter how much effort you put in, it's like not gonna work out. Kind of related to limited beliefs, frankly. That
also reminds me of the Abraham Hicks quote, hard work will never compensate for lack of alignment. And I remember like sweating and getting nowhere, and all these other bikers were passing me on the trail. And then I finally realized that my back tire was completely flat, like almost flat. Brooke! Oh, Rachie.
It's
That was a good day.
At 5:13 p.m. Rachel and I are at this amazing co-working place in Jersey City.
Back when Rachel lived here.
Yeah, we got some good work done. So I'm like very anxious. I don't know if I just had a lot of coffee or I feel like there's imminent news.
I can always feel things.
What's your prediction?
My prediction is that first off, Haley will hit very big numbers in the next 24 hours. I'm gonna.
She was right.
8:30 p.m. now. Last day before I'm at 2:10.
I remember just knowing, oh my gosh, I have chills. I am knowing that it was about to happen because I went and I met Rachel for that drink. I start to walk back to my apartment and I remember just starting to cry. Like, I feel like I'm gonna cry right now just reflecting on it. Just because I had worked for it for so long. The followers were coming in so fast. It was the fastest followers had ever started to come in. And it was like every time I refreshed, it was like another 100 followers. And it was like destiny knew that that was the night. And even though I was maybe lagging a little bit behind, it was like, I don't care. Like, that one video I made surged up to like millions of views. And all of a sudden, huge numbers of followers started to come in. Obviously, you guys know I hit 100K, but I just remember that my mom said, I'm so glad you hit it before like the news came out that they were gonna ban it, so that you knew that you could. It was like this beautiful moment of, I did this, even though it was overshadowed a little bit by like my fears around the TikTok thing. But you can see it like in my face, like I'm on an adrenaline high. Like, look how red my face is at this part.
99.8 on TikTok, so I'm about to hit 100. Just probably the most emotional anyone has ever gotten about a milestone like this.
I remember just sobbing. I
actually have almost 102K, almost 200K. Hi, y'all.
Well, now!
And it's like, it's before my alarm goes off, but I feel so anxious. And
I remember
feel
that.
alive.
Waking up and I just felt like I was supposed to be so excited, like I hit this milestone, and I just had this sense of uneasiness, and I just knew I had to check my phone, and I just kind of knew that something bad had happened.
TikTok and WeChat will be banned.
Oh my god.
From the App Store on.
Woo!
It does seem like a little bit, it was clickbaity because we still have till November 12th, which is
I'm like wondering why I'm so calm. I guess that was why.
Through, according to Wilbur Ross. Talk about a damper. This is where
A damper indeed.
I was resistant to hitting 100K before all this was wrapped up, but it's worth that celebration because there's nothing in life that's guaranteed.
Rachel and I were just talking about this trip the other day when we decided to go apple picking into that farm, or like pumpkin patch, to the pumpkin patch, because I remember I was feeling so sad and off that the news had happened, and I really just did not want to leave New York. Like, I kind of just wanted to lay in bed all day and like mope, but like getting out and about and into that energy, magic happened.
Farm and orchard.
Right here. Farm and orchard.
It's just like a sunny day. Like, there's so much good energy, like just getting out of the environment, forgetting about it for a while. It's just so funny to watch this back because basically like we had such a good time at the apple orchard. It was like the only time that I hadn't checked my phone in forever. Whereas before I was like refreshing the news. I finally just like put it out of my head, and I was like, well, nothing could happen on a Saturday basically. And we get to dinner and I open Instagram. Like, again, I'm not checking the news. I'm just like trying to keep my mind off of it. And somebody, like one of my TikTok friends, had messaged me and they said, did you see that Trump approved the deal? And I was like, what? And I Googled it and he had, and I was like, oh my gosh, like fully in shock at the table.
What did I do, Rach? She cried. I immediately cried. I couldn't believe it. And the news confirms it. Amazing and happy end to an incredible saga.
When you get out of your comfort zone and get out of like your day-to-day and get out of your head, like that's when the magic happens. Like, I had to somehow let it go a little bit. And that doesn't mean I was gonna let go of wanting it or letting go of like wanting a specific outcome, but it does mean that I was letting go of this ironclad hold that I had on this situation has to evolve this way right now or else it won't be okay. What I'll just say to wrap this up, the reflection video, and some considerations for you that are helpful for me as well at this point in my life. Like, what do you think the version of you a year from today would say to you if everything worked out? And here's the kicker, like everything does work out. I love vlogging because it's so interesting to see this phase of my life. Like, of course there are so many things I remember, and I have pictures and I have the TikToks I was filming during that time, but I feel like I just marinated in my energy from that phase of my life. And now that I'm zooming out and I'm like, okay, where am I? It's exactly a year later. It's 2021. I'm in my new apartment. Like, It's so crazy how much has grown and expanded since then. This just became a thing of the past so quickly. So much else came to the surface. We always want to know how the story is going to end up right here, right now. And it feels so hard to live in the moment with all of its uncertainty. But what if, just for a second, we connected to our future selves and believed there's a version of ourselves in the future looking back at where we are now, saying, like trying to send it through the time wormhole, everything is okay. That thing that you're so worried about, it's not worth a second of your worry. Go enjoy your life because I'm on the other side of it and everything's gonna be perfect. I feel very enthused. I feel like my faith tank has been refilled, which is a podcast episode that I had published a year ago, and y'all should check it out on my podcast, Big Conversations. This was so fun to reflect on and watch, and especially it feels very timely with being somewhat close to hitting 100K on Instagram. And just being in that fall energy. I love fall, I love September. I love this life, I love creating for you guys. I love being on YouTube, I love being on TikTok, I love being on Instagram. I just feel so happy and so grateful, and I wouldn't be here without every single one of you. So thank you for caring, thank you for showing up, and here's to the next year. I just got chills as I said that. Oh my gosh, I'm so inspired. Pumpkin spice latte cheers, baby.